Bill O'Reilly went on national TV to say he was wrong. He was wrong. He admitted he was wrong. That's big of him. Most of these people never admit they were mistaken. But the most telling evidence came from President Bush's favorite and chief arms inspector in Iraq, David Kay, who, after spending $500 million of your tax dollars in recent months with 1,500 skilled inspectors, returned home to report to his commander-in-chief, and he said, with further elaboration, he said, quote, "We were wrong," end quote. We were wrong. I remember candidate George W. Bush saying that actions should have consequences, that actions should involve responsibility.
We never engage in a rush to judgment. We study things over time. And I said that I wasn't sure about Ralph Nader in earlier segments of this film, but now I'm even more sure, my friends, that he's a tool to give us the illusion of choice. Not only is one of his former top lawyers and campaign managers a Skull and Bones member, but now we learn that Mr. Nader's book was published by Fox Television, and he's been all over Fox promoting it. Now, again, I'm not saying that, oh, this is some plan to get Bush elected, because we know that Nader takes votes away from Kerry, but it's just an added level of this Byzantine, Machiavellian subterfuge that we should all be conscious of. Mr. Nader, who are you really working for?
The war on terrorism, particularly in its homeland defense manifestation, is a thin cover for the war on dissent.
A lot of prominent individuals have come out against the war. And they're not all what you'd call leftists. Mel Gibson has come out against the Iraq war. He said that it's wrong, that it's unconscionable, that it's a crime, that it's not America's place. And you know, Mel Gibson is just in line with George Washington, who said, don't get involved in foreign entanglements. Don't get involved in imperialism that was the norm at his time in the world, and is still the norm today, just more sophisticated, more veiled.
Power is a gift we have to utilize within ourselves for others in the best way possible. The paradigm of power is the highest standard of power, and that simply is giving.
For 50 years under both parties, our government has been sporting brutal dictators who suppress their workers and their presence. Why don't we have a war on global infectious diseases that are taking millions of innocent lives and are coming to this country in drug-resistant strains?
This is what it's all about, coming out here against tyranny, not as liberals or conservatives, but just as human beings that love freedom and are standing up against the establishment and saying, we are not your slaves!
Throughout history, there's different types of power. There's powerful people that are powerful because they do good things, and they do it for the right reasons. Why is it, though, really dark, evil, wicked people who are sadistic and enjoy doing bad things to populations, enjoy mutating populations spiritually, physically, financially, why do those type of individuals normally get into power, and then once they have power, no one's challenging them, they increase the murder, the slaughter? How do we stop? Well, number one, why do we see that happen, or do you agree? And then number two, how do we stop that?
A lot of the people who are under the power of the tyrants are like sheep. They know nothing else. They have no role models. This is from generation to generation to generation, and they come with generational curses, and they come from the spirits of evil, and there's 14 of them that are listed in the Bible. And when you have these spirits of evil working with you, within you, around you, and you have the spirits of evil working in the leaders and in the politicians and in the generals working with them, you have nothing but evil. Nothing but evil. And the most endangered species is dedicated leaders.
I mean, good leaders.
I mean, dedicated leaders in the right way, in the good way.
You have to limit government power and the intrusiveness of government and take away the need for the money that they come after us for.
We're seeing a lot of lying by the Attorney General. Comments about the new Victory Act, Patriot Act 2, and the lying.
Well, you know, I pointed out in my speech just a little while ago that he had a beautiful quote when he was a senator. I mean, they flip-flop and they deceive. I don't think he would admit that he was doing any lying, but he now serves a different master. He serves the administration, and if they say this is what you're going to do, he goes along with it. So it's just total inconsistency. That's why we need people in government that are willing to stand up for their beliefs and explain what they believe in, and they shouldn't be allowed to stay there, you know, if they flip-flop and just do whatever they feel like doing.
George W. smirks, Dick Cheney sneers, Rumsfeld jokes, Powell blusters, Rice lies, Enron and WorldCom steal, DynCorp vaccinates, Halliburton feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds. Americans hurt, and in Iraq, Americans die. Our national leaders insult our allies, create more foes, reward their friends, increase our insecurity through their own policies, and plunge the American people into the deepest economic abyss of a generation. Stealing an election in Florida on the uncounted Chads, representing the legitimate hopes and aspirations of blacks and Latino Floridians. Even the Democrats failed to pursue a remedy that would permanently secure the voting rights of people of color in Florida and around our country.
Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who was targeted by her own party as well as the Republicans, was routed out of her popular congressional seat covering Atlanta, Georgia. And when she found out about the United Nations and DynCorp kidnapping hundreds of thousands of women and children and being found guilty in court of doing it, she went public. When she found out about the Bushes and the Bin Ladens and prior knowledge of 9/11, she went public and said we should have an investigation. When Cynthia McKinney found out about election fraud nationwide being run by elements of the U.S. government, she went public. And she's a real congresswoman. She's the type of person we need.
I tried to warn the American people of the dangers that I saw emanating from this administration. For that, a known black female Republican was advised to run against me in the Democratic primary. Republicans fed her campaign coffers, and then 48,000 of them crossed over and voted for her. Just think about it. Katherine Harris, who participated in the illegal disfranchisement of innocent black and Latino voters, was rewarded with a congressional seat, and I was taken out of one.
So if you're a real Republican who has populist constitutional views, you're targeted. If you're a real Democrat who has real constitutional values and cares about the people, like Cynthia McKinney, you're targeted, you're attacked for getting out of the controlled paradigm. And I'm telling you, the controlled paradigm is the insane worldview.
We see ludicrous leaders like Tom DeLay, Trent Lott, Ward Connolly, and now Arnold Schwarzenegger parade across the stage adorned with the ornaments of power, while thoughtful leaders are shunned or targeted or cruelly maligned. But there was a time when that truly wasn't so. When our leaders challenged the best in us and encouraged us to shun war and invest in justice and peace.
And Cynthia McKinney has been an ardent supporter of the Bill of Rights and has really spoken out against these modern tyrannies. So we have to commend her. This is absolute gold right here. The incredible height
of a property. This is private property.
Okay, where's your property?
15 feet from the foundation.
So you guys done blowing the economy out? Now you're just guarding a little money laundering scam? That's Enron, CIA money laundering. And they don't even want you to videotape their little Enron logo. Can you believe it? The exercise of power. And once our constitutional rights are gone, they'll have these guys dressed up in black uniforms busting through your door, telling you you're wrong after they're done destroying the entire stock market. That's how the scam's going to work here in the new third world country that is America. See, the media, CNN, all of them told you, invest in Enron, it's the biggest thing, it's the best thing, when really it was a Ponzi scheme. They were consolidating. They were taking all of the assets of the population, the pension funds, putting them in the company, then using those assets to buy other real assets and transferring it into other companies. Then when they're done, they burn the house down and cover up their evidence. And then they have a whitewash in Congress where they talk about issues of little or no significance and distract you off the real facts. Where are the assets? And why aren't people talking about how 2 years ago they started transferring them into real companies? This is what we're dealing with here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the scam. Here, let's interview this gentleman. He'll probably know more about Enron than the average corporate executive. And I'm serious when I say that. What exactly do you think's really going on with Enron?